Going on, everybody? Hit pause back for part 3 of this landscape material tutorial. And what I wanted to do first in this part is take a stab at kind of fixing up this blend transition here. As you can see, we're using the super simple method down here, all of this stuff being the a little bit more complex method, which I still don't fully back. Okay, I don't fully believe in it yet, but what I know that we can do is we can fix this up. I do need to clamp it, I do need to invert it, but what I think I want to do is divide this by, I think, just a straight up parameter for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this cliff height contrast for now. Okay, and I'm going to throw this into the clamp. And I'm going to use that instead. Now, I'm going to keep this value pretty low. And let's get this to compile here as it sees fit, and you can see it's just starting to poke through, but let's maybe try 0.01. Just pull this a little bit larger here, and you can kind of not really tell that it's happening. So what I may need to do is edit my actual height map to be a little bit better. But let's go ahead and give this a try on the actual terrain, and let's see if this is going to give us any better results. Okay, so let's see what we can pull off here. Let's go ahead and click this in. Okay, the height power, I'm actually going to put that back to 1. Okay, because I don't really want to boost that too much or nothing. Alright, and I think, let's try lowering this. Okay, as you can see now, it's really starting to break that up, but we're getting rock in areas we don't necessarily want, right? So this is going to control the slope fall off, is going to control the overall slope. Okay, the more I do that, again, 1.01 is going to go 1.1. It's going to start going a long distance here. Okay, you can see that that's breaking up based on my rock, my large rock texture. Okay, so it's going into the height map of that rock. Okay, that's the contrast there. So the lower the value here, the more contrasted it's going to be. The higher I do this, I believe the more grass I will see, but I still want to be able to make sure that I get to 0 here, right? I'm pretty much liking what's going on in this area, sort of. It's a little splattery, a little splotchy, but what I don't like is that I'm not getting rid of the rock here. So that slope contrast, let's try putting that to like 0.5. Height contrast. Let's see, slope fall off. Cliff height power. Okay, if I go too high with this, I'm going to end up with problems because it's going to be very hard for me to pull this back, and I'm going to have to come in here and really start maybe 0.25 or something like that. Okay, but I still can't get rid of that. Do you see that? I still cannot get rid of that. And as I bring this up, say 1, I just blend that out. Okay, but my original technique allowed me to get rid of this on this surface, but I didn't feel like what was going on at this point was what I really wanted. So let's see, I'm not sure that this technique is going to work out totally perfect. Okay, that height power, it really needs quite a bit of strength to get this working. Slope fall off. See if I try 2 and I bring this down. You can see what kind of a crazy balance this is. Okay, 0.4 seems to work there, but I'm still not getting rid of the poke through of the rock on my total flat surface here. So I'm not really digging this totally at all. So I think I want to go ahead and approach with perhaps some kind of combination of the two methods, because what this method did, which kind of may be a little confusing, let's pull this, let's move that there. Okay, this is the simpler method. Now the other thing is I could use I could divide this by here, but what I would like to do would be to multiply this by that first, so that I'm using, remember this is all coming from that height map. Now there's nothing saying you have to use the height map of the actual texture. This is just something that I want to get working. If you could just use like a noise texture or a splatter map to break that up. Anything you wanted to do, some kind of mix map. Okay. Just waiting for it to compile. It gets real laggy while it's doing that. So I'll pause. Okay, it's ready to go. Let's see if we can't now figure it out. So let's say 1.1, 0.01. Okay, so let's try 0.001 here, or 0.05, maybe 0.1. 0.5? Okay, so we're starting to blend, but we're still not removing this. Okay, where the slope is solid white, we want our mask to be solid white, right? In the transitional periods is where we want to mix, and where it's 0 we want to be solid. Okay. I feel like this is working a little bit differently than I had. Slope contrast of 1. Slope angle of 1. Let's go 0.75. It's getting a little bit closer, but again we're height power. Let's knock that down. It's not, I mean, all of these could be something that you like. I mean, it's up to you, but I want to wipe it out, and I admit I'm having a little bit of issue. I do need to kind of figure this out as I go, so. And again, the fundamental problem could be that my height map is hitting pure 1, or it's also, maybe it could be that it's hitting pure 0. It's possibly my fault. Well, by possibly I mean it's definitely my fault, but let's say 16 here, 32, 64. See, even with that kind of crazy power, you can see that little spot left right there. So my height map needs a little bit of an edit, I believe. Because no matter how I push that, I can't get rid of it, right? So let's do that real quick. Stop it. Now there's an application that I use to generate this based off of the diffuse map itself, and it's called Bitmap to Material 3. It's available on Steam. It's part of the Substance Pack. It is one of the best tools I've ever seen. As you can see here, I can get the height map, and I can actually take a look at this here and see what's going on. So I believe that it's a 1024. Let me see how big the actual texture is. It is a 1024, and you can see here the alpha channel here. Okay, there's parts of the alpha channel that go fully white, and I'm not sure that I need to either. This is the thing, I don't really know if I need to, and there's parts that go fully black, so I may need to make sure that it doesn't do that, or I may need to make sure that it does do that. But as you can see here, that's pretty much a little bit what I outputted from here, but I have the ability to I think, yeah, that's the normal map intensity, but I think on my relief map, see, I have this ability here to edit how my height map is actually being generated. That seems to blur it. I definitely don't want that. Maybe something like that. Let's see. Again, that's kind of fuzzing it out. So I'll try something like this, where nothing really hits full white too much, or full black. I'll go and I'll edit that too. So what I can do is I can export just that height map, and oh, I did not want to do that. Okay, select folder, and I'm just gonna name this cliff height as a TGA. I'll export that. Okay. Again, bitmap to material 3, the indie pack for Substance Designer, especially if you're using UE4. Oh, it's just the greatest thing ever. So I would want to promote that as much as I can. Okay, so again, I don't know if this is actually going to be a good alpha channel yet, but we'll see what we get. So I just want to take this, go to the channels, hold control, click that, hit M, so I'm on my marquee tool, just find a spot where it changes, drag it up here, still holding, hold shift and let go, pop the alpha channel. Okay, I'm also want to come here, and I want to kind of capture the original. Okay, so I'm going to fill with black. I'm going to redrag this up here, hold shift and let it go, and then fill that with white. So there's the original, just in case. There's my diffuse map, and I'm going to save this as my Cliff D. Yes, 32-bit. Keep the alpha channel. Come back to UE4. Come here, and let's go to Cliff, and let's pull that in. I hope that it wants to overwrite. It did not. Okay, I'm going to call this test. Just save that. So it becomes a U asset. All right. Now I need to inject this into my material function. So let's get that cliff test here, fcliff layer. It's going to be a little laggy until it compiles for the preview. Okay, I'll pause while it does it. Okay, that is done. Or not, it's still kind of hung up and lagging here on the, this has got to propagate through the material. Okay, so let's see if that gave us any better abilities here. Okay, starting to feel a little better already, but because as you can see in the white here, I've got no rock whatsoever. I still have it up in the transitional area here. Okay, so slope fall off. Let's try 1.25. Let's try 2. Okay, our contrast, we need to actually, let's do 1 there, or maybe 2. Okay, pull that down until we need to make sure that it's gone on our flat area. It's not fully gone, but it's better. As you can see, this is actually officially going in those cracks now. But it's kind of hard to tell because as I get close, I'm blending in the higher res version, right? So maybe we can knock that blend out. Let me zoom over to here. Okay, as you can see, I start blending from that distance. And you can get some pretty interesting blends, but I want to try to fix that blend distance. Okay, I gotta be really close. In fact, too close for it to even happen now, so I shouldn't see any real blending here now. Okay, let's cliff slope fall off. I think we can probably kick that up to maybe 2.5. Okay, I think if I kick this up 16, but again, too high and you start losing everything, right? You start losing that blend transition. I'm seeing a couple of little spots poking through still, so the height map may still need a little bit of adjustment. Let's see, the height contrast. Remember, the higher this goes, the less it's going to have an effect. I may need to add this contrast to the height map, but this already feels a lot better, I think. I definitely don't totally hate it, but I'm getting kind of, no matter what I do with this contrast, you can see here if I go too high, then I start getting rock everywhere. If I go 0.01, that's super sharp. Okay, really, really, really sharp. Okay, so as I dial that down, I can push that up. Okay, 1 or 2 is going to knock it. Well, actually, no, it didn't really knock it out entirely. The height power. Okay, I probably need that, but let's okay, there's some very scattered grass in the cracks of the rock, and you can see it's following the cracks of the rock here. And that's, you know, I believe that if I were using dirt, I would be more, I'd be a lot happier with this right now. This grass texture, again, it's total shit house. So let's say the fall off. Let's say the contrast down. Okay, we smooth that transition out. The height contrast 0.1. That's getting better. At least the rock can be completely wiped out now. Okay. So I think that this method is actually pretty solid, to be honest. Better textures. I think I may need to add the contrast to the height as opposed to multiplying it right here. So let's try that. Let's see if that is actually going to do anything. And I kind of feel like I probably, oops, I right-clicked somewhere. I kind of feel, actually I'm just going to delete that. Like I may need to clamp that first. So I'm only going between 0 and 1. Oops, I got something like a pen right there, totally making me type wrong. I'm going to keep it in reserve just in case, so that I know I do may or may not want to try that. So let's apply that. Okay, let's see. I did soften it up, which I like. Let's see how if we go higher, that's slower, so let's go 0.01. Height power, let's kick that up. Actually, let's just kick that up to like 2. Slope contrast of 1 pulls that back. Say like 4 should pull it back quite heavily. Height power. Let's see, slope fall off. Oh, come on. .32. You can see you can really knock that back quite a bit, and then throw the slope contrast lower. So dialing this stuff in can really, as you can see, the grass is starting to really take that form. And it is going in between some of the rocks, but I don't fully yet have the ability to knock the rocks out and keep it clean the way I want. So I think we need to do another edit to the material to give another try. What I think I want to try is going, I think, like I said, I could clamp this, but I don't think that's gonna be what I really need. What I think might help, I might as well pull this back in here, right? This is actually getting, what, stop it. Put that here, let's get rid of this stuff that's just convoluting my scene. Okay, clean it up just a hair here so I get it's still, I think, figuring stuff out. So okay, there we go. Now it feels a little bit smoother. I am a little laggy because of the recording. Okay, so what I think I want to try is for the division, as opposed to this guy, I think what I want to try and do is multiply this by the actual, just the slope. So the slope is controlling this fall off as opposed to the height map, because like I said, the height map's interfering with my flats. So we'll give that a try. And we'll see what we get. So I'm going to pause it and hit apply. Well, I'll hit apply and then pause. It'll make a difference. Okay, immediately I see that the rock is for the most part wiped out on the flats. There's a couple of spots, but this is actually at a slight bit of a slope. So I think this is going to work better. You'll notice my FPS is down to 30. That is because I'm recording. That has nothing really to do with the scene. Once I stop recording, it does go up to 60 FPS. I did already check that, because it kind of freaked me out for a second, but seems okay. So I think we might be onto something here. Again, I do want to apologize if you guys are expecting me to know how to do this right away. I will put a disclaimer at the bottom of every single one of these videos telling you at what point to go to just see the final material. If that's all you care about, you don't want to actually see how it was developed or some of the theories on why I did what I did. So let's look at right around here and let's see. So the slope contrast, slope fall off, let's back that off, let's see what we get. Okay, that pulls it up more. Don't hate that. Okay, there's that height contrast, which does pretty much wipe it out in the flat areas here, because we need to make sure that we are not, our division number is very low, so that our pushes our values very high, so that when we clamp it, let's see, 0.25 maybe. A couple of rock peeking through here. I could probably live with that. Alright, so we'll take a look here. Cliff, blend distance, that's different. Let's see, height, contrast. I've already played with that. Height, power. Let's drop that down. Okay, and let's lower the fall off to 1.10. That starts taking away my actual blend there, but that can be kind of handy right there. But I mean, if you want really, you know, again, it depends on the sharpness of the cliff too, right? Because this is all slope based. So if I come here and I say, like a very hard edge there, we do still get pretty much a little bit of grass in the cracks. So again, like I said, this isn't exactly the greatest terrain for it, because I don't really have any, you know, near vertical surfaces. I have a few here and there. Pull this down here. I kind of wish it would remember when I pull it down, it would remember that I had it like this, you know, not that big of a deal. Slope angle is still another control that I have. So say like 0.6 or 0.9 or even 2, right? It's too much, obviously. But maybe like 0.9. Probably need to kick that power up, height power, if I really want that. Be like 4 or something, and then throw that fall off up. Okay, go crazy with it. And as you can see here, see how it's definitely in the cracks. Okay, so this could be a layer that you wanted to have over the top of everything that was just in the cracks, you know, if you really wanted to. And that shouldn't show up on the actual cliff surfaces, which it doesn't, but it shows up in the flat area here. assuming that's what you wanted, you have that control, which is kind of nice. So it's pretty tunable, I think. Height, power, eat, that will chew it down a lot more. Slope, fall off, say 8. It gets a little noisy, right? I mean, you kind of want to get like a nice balance. There's a 1 here. It's very solid. Height, power, if I go like really crazy, 64. It's kind of pretty much now just white, to be honest with you. So it's really not using that mask at all. If I do that like that high. Again here. So if we go, you know, if you go too far in one direction, you got to kind of back off in another direction. It just depends on the look that you really want to go for. Let's see, like 0.01 here, or 1. Yeah, there we can get it very, very subtle, falling off that slope there. So we can just flood it with grass if we really want to. Again, the cliff surfaces are not going to get touched. But I think I liked it around 0.9. So now let me just dial it real quick for something that I would actually like accept for myself. God damn it. Let's see, height contrast. 2's too much, so I think I want to go maybe 0.4. Slope contrast. 0.1. Height, slope, fall off. Let's go with about 5. Height, power, I might go with like 6. Better lighting would help, right? Obviously I don't have an ambient cube map or anything going on in here. I don't have any fog, I don't have any depth of field, I don't have any of that shit going on. I do have the distance blend on the grass working, but again, this real shitty texture. The grass, to be honest with you, I would not want to multiply them together. I would actually prefer to lerp them together, so that's going to be the last thing I'm going to do here. So I go to my grass. Again, the cool thing too is that I can control each layer completely individually by messing with their stuff. So instead of lerping to this and going to 1, I'm just going to lerp straight up. Okay, I hit clean up and apply, and then I'll pause and wait for that. So the grass I think will blend better because it's such like a kind of an even texture. While this is doing it, I just want to say that you could actually make this an option by using a static bool input to say, do you want to multiply the blend or do you want to replace the blend? And then you would have a static, like I said, a static switch controlled with an input that would be then you'd put a parameter to, and then you can determine based on whether or not, depending on the texture, whether or not you want to multiply the blend or whether or not you want to replace the blend, or you could also, you know, do a overlay or something like that. They have a bunch of those functions too. So still waiting on this guy. Actually, no, it's finished. So the grass will now replace as I get closer and at a distance. You can see it doesn't look very tiled anyway, but as I get closer you can see it kind of almost blends out, but it maintains the same tone because it's the same texture. So it gets a little hazy at points, but if you look straight down it looks good. And I can, if I want to, still have full control over those sizes. So the large size is 4000. This is 256. Maybe I want to go 64, so it looks like that. You know, I gotta get real close to it, so it looks like this around me, but in the distance. As you can see, there's the transition period right there. It's kind of hard to tell because it transitions, to be honest, so nicely. But as you can see, some of that grass detail, okay, you can see the grass here pretty clearly, but as you get closer, there is that period where it's 50-50, where it kind of starts to wash out a little bit until you get to the other one. But that is also where you can control the grass blend distance, say like 500. So as I move forward, okay, so right here is very high res, but very close to me it's very large. That's all tunable to however you really want that. And again, there's nothing really stopping you from doing like a medium transition to a far transition, and even transitioning to a completely different texture. Say one that was just the brown and green tones. And you could, if you wanted to, also multiply that whole thing by a complete total diffuse tone color, so that you have large patches of brown and large patches of green, and then as you move in, your resolution gets better and better and better. I mean, you figure the character's height's probably about right here, so that blend distance is too close, and that size is too small. But I'm just illustrating that you have that ability to tune it however you really want. So I would probably go 256, and I would probably make that blend distance like, I don't know, like 1500 or something. Kind of irritating with that stupid flashing thing. Let's go to this guy. There we go. So as you're walking around, you see the grass in the distance, and then it kind of blends to the other. That 4000 size is probably too large. For this, if I were stuck, you know, in a universe where somebody said you have to use this grass texture, I would do a third blend. I would do a farther distance, and I would probably come to Photoshop and do something like this as the actual image for the final blend, and just go like filter, render, clouds, and have something like that. You know, maybe not this green's kind of ugly, but something like that, you know, for the distance that multiplies on top of everything to break up that pattern, because it's a tough one. Grass, like I said, is arguably one of the most difficult terrain materials to actually get right. You can look at almost any game and pick it apart. It's really, really tough. But I am working on a method for rendering grass. Like I said, actually generating really high-res grass and then rendering that to texture. So getting a good normal map, getting a good height map, getting a proper ambient occlusion map, using a relief map, which would be bump offset, and trying to fix it that way. So I think I'm going to end this part here. I'm going to have one more part, and that is going to be creating the dirt, and we'll get that to transition to. Now I want to have, I believe, dirt in between the grass and the rock, so I'm most likely going to need to back the grass off some and get the dirt to have a certain area of transition between that. So we'll do that in the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And again, I will have a summary video that I'm just going to go through and summarize everything that we finally ended up with and demo it, and you guys can skip straight to that, and I'll put that in the description for every single one. So there'll be, I think, 4, probably 5 parts. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.